Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 61 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series where I'm making some storage drives. I actually got surprisingly low over here. We're at 78.7 out of 80k and I actually filled it up because I was taking cactus out of my cactus thingy and then all of a sudden my thing was full and I was like, oh, I need more. So I took a bunch out and then made a couple 64k drives. So boom, we suddenly have lots more storage, which is exciting. And I just wanted to show you on camera that I actually ran out of room once I, started filling all this up. So that's a thing that happened. It was a fun thing. And it happened nonetheless. So today's plan. What do we got going on, folks? Today I'd like to look at, I have a long-term goal. And we're going to explain that first, and we're going to talk about how we're going to get there. So long-term goal, I want to play with Mekanism's mech suit. The mecha suit body armor is, like a lot of things in Mekanism, a little bit OP and a lot of bit fun. So I'd like to work towards that. However, it requires a lot of work to get there. Quite a lot of work, as a matter of fact. So there's a lot of things. Basically, it's a modular power suit. So there's a bunch of modules that you can install in these things, and you can kind of see them down here underneath the module base. So there's things that automatically feed the player. It gives you a jetpack, vision enhancement, solar recharging, all kinds of stuff. Faster running, faster jumping, flying, teleportation, vein mining, all kinds of fun things. Long story short, it's super fun. It's a cool thing, but requires a lot of work to get there. Each component of the mecha bodysuit armor, including the armor and the legs and the boots, all requires some polonium pellets to get running. Now, polonium requires a little bit of this, right? And the polonium itself comes from processed nuclear waste. And the only way we can get nuclear waste to process it is via a fission reactor. Dun, dun, dun. So, more so because I want polonium and nuclear waste, and less so because I need power, I'm going to be building a fission reactor from Mekanism. And that sounds like fun. So, there's a lot to Mekanism fission reactors. There's a lot. It's one of those things where there's a lot of complexity to it, and as a result, it's a lot of fun to build. It's a giant multi-block structure. Nuclear reactors, there's a lot to them, which I've already said 3 times, so hopefully you've gotten that. But the basic gist is there's 3 multi-blocks we need to be worried about. There's the nuclear reactor itself, which will burn nuclear fuel and generate heat. Okay? And then from there, we turn that heat, we pipe it into a machine that turns water into steam, I think. I'm not mistaken. And then we pump that into a turbine. I forget if there's a water to steam block. I feel like there is, right? I feel like there is. We'll figure it out. I need to remember it. I played with it a little bit on Forgecraft when Mekanism's first iteration of this fission system came out. I haven't played with it since, so we're going to have to play a little bit to figure it out. So what I'm going to do is get ready to start building the nuclear reactor. Now, here's the downside to nuclear reactors. They will generate radioactive waste, and that's not a great time. We don't want... now, radioactive waste, if you store it in your base, is going to be bad times. Luckily, they give us radioactive waste barrels, which can take that radioactive waste and properly store it. The downside is if you break these barrels, the waste spills into the environment, it pollutes the area, and there's some negative effects in the area around where that nuclear waste spilled. So we want to be exceedingly careful with nuclear waste. As a result, and because I don't trust myself, I will be building this far away from my main base. We're going to go find a location far enough away that we can get over there and we can keep an eye on things and we can make it safe so that if we do have a nuclear accident, at least it doesn't mess up my main base area, because that would be bad. So that's what we're going to work towards, all right? So, without further ado, let's start looking at fission power through Mekanism. All right, guys, so next step for me, I think, would primarily be let's find a place. I'm going to actually move you because I don't like you being there anymore. Let's find a place to set up this nuclear reactor, right? Far away from our main base would be ideal, right? That would be super great. And I'd also like to set up a portal room. I'm not sure if I want to set up the portal room now or maybe fancify it a little bit more later. But basically, what I'd like is a nice little portal that looks something like this. So if we had a stabilizer here, right, and we did something like this, and we did something like this, that could be cool, right? And then we could link this guy to this dude, and that would be super neat. Do I have power nearby? I really should get the flux points thing back up and running. I need to get more flux. But we might have... something of power, generally speaking, over here-ish. So if we got some advanced universal cabling, just because we're so close, there's no reason to go too crazy here. Okay. We'll just do this. And that'll get us our power flowing. And that'll make that guy happy. Cool, cool, and good to go. So then I can wall this up, I can wall that up, and nobody's the wiser. So now let's go find our spot. Then we will... So what I'm thinking is I'd like it so that when I teleport through the portal, I'm standing here. Right? So we're going to name you... Oh, that's cool. Base 1. Add, save it. This is this, right? Facing south. South. Right? So check this out. Now let's go find... And I mean, I think it goes without saying, but if you're going to build a nuclear testing facility, it should be done in a desert, right? So let's go find like far, far, far away. Maybe where there's some water nearby. Might not be in her water. But far, 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 far away. And this feels pretty good. Yeah, I like this area. Let's try this little nifty trick, right? So you building gadget, you should be allowed to build. Yes, cool. All right, so let's pretend like this. Did I not bring enough portal frames? Maybe not. That's okay, we'll fix it in a minute. This facing this way, and we'll build our nuclear structure right around here. So I'll flatten this whole terrain and everything. But this right here is where I want to arrive, right? So we will click U, and we're going to call you, let's remove this thing. We're going to name you nuclear area, save. Okay. Now we're going to wing home. Okay. Let's get a few more portal frames. They're cheap-ish. And then we're going to come over to this dude, and we're going to add you, and that's cool, and activate. So now what should happen is when I step through this portal, boom, I'm here facing the direction I wanted to face. Cool. All right, now here is where I'm going to have, and I guess this is why you might want a target definition with multiple doohickeys, right? And you're totally going to need some wireless doohickeyness, right? We're going to need some flux point stuff for that. So maybe I should go get my redstone and some obsidian. Hey, I said redstone. And some obsidian. Works for me. Actually, we might want a little bit more obsidian, because remember, yeah, things and stuff. I should automate that at some point, honestly. If I'm being honest, like, that's what I absolutely should do. I'm just not quite there yet. I want to build this, I'll automate that later. Next time we need this, hold me to it. I'll try to automate it. Shouldn't be hard. Should be easy, actually. But nonetheless, this is what my focus is at the moment. I think I got some bedrock down here-ish, right? Okay, so you go here, and I believe we just probably want to turn this off for a sec. Not bad. Let's get the last couple of these. Now, come on, obsidian. That'll do. All right, cool. So now I can put this stuff away, get myself a flux point. And before we go back out there, we're going to, bada bing, bada boom, flux point. Put away this, and redefine our target here as this block space is where I want to land, facing this direction, right? So remove you, home, 1, save, activate. Shouldn't you stay on? I would imagine you would, but I guess we'll find out. And then you set to Direwolf 20's network. I like these things. I like portals that you can, you know, do things with like this. It's neat to me. All right, so you get added to that, and then you are active, and that's cool beans. Let's turn you back on for a minute and get you to play some sand for me. Sweet. So now when I step through, and I can make this whatever we want, but you know me, I'm a fan of cyan. You know me, I'm a fan of cyan. Cool. Now, why do you keep turning off? Your teleport cost is 640 RF. So I'm assuming the same thing's happening over here? Yeah, so let's get those. So the same thing we saw before is we need, from the portal mod, we're going to need another advanced energy cell, which means you. And then you. And let's make you up here. So he's full. Activate. And you can also be cyan. But, you know, if we have a portal room, which, you know, might be a thing that happens at some point, we could have, you know, multiples of these. And that might be cool. So advanced energy, you're now stabilized, you're now active, and now when we step through, he should still be active on the other side. Cool. So now we have a way to boop back and forth, which, I mean, that's neat, right? Isn't that cool? I like that. You know, I like teleporter mods. What do you want from me? It's a thing I like. I like when you get to teleport around. I'm just saying. Especially with portals. Portals make teleport mods all the better. All right, now that we've got the area picked out, let's start planning for what our nuclear reactor is going to need. So there's two components that we need, two multi-blocks. We need the fission reactor and the industrial turbine. There is a third block if you decide to go salt cooling, which we may go in a future episode. So there's two ways to cool a reactor, right? The fission reactor uses nuclear fuel, generates nuclear waste, and heat. You need to then put water into the reactor, and that heat turns the water into steam. You pipe the steam into a turbine, the turbine spins and generates RF, and then turns the steam back into water, which you can pipe back into the reactor. If you don't pump enough water into the reactor, bad things happen. We don't want to go there, and that's the gist. Now, if we wanted to go, that's the more basic approach, right? The more basic approach. The more complex approach is to use a salt reactor, which we'll talk about maybe at some point. But sodium-based cooling, basically, the gist from what I'm reading is sodium-based current cooling will generate more power and also burn through your fuel faster, which is ideal because our goal here is less so about power and more so about getting nuclear waste. So if you want more nuclear waste, I think salt reactor is the way to go. But it's also more complex to set up because I think it needs another multi-block, but I haven't quite figured it all out entirely so far. But I think that's what's up for sodium-based cooling. So we'll figure it out together a little bit. We'll be, so I kind of remember from my Forgecraft playthrough, right, what was involved. So let's start with a small water-based reactor to be safe. Then we're going to build a larger water-based reactor so that we can really start generating stuff. And once that's running, we'll see how well it's doing. And if we want, we can build a sodium reactor to generate even more nuclear waste, I think. And that'll be fun. Cool? And all that will come up now. So let's start with a small reactor. The smallest one we can make is a 3x4x3, or a 3x3x4, 4 being the height. I think I want to go a little bit higher than that. So we could go a little bit higher than that, or should we go with like the really basic small one? Let's start with the super small basic one. We'll do 3x3x4, and then we'll build a bigger one in the future. Cool? So to make it, and I already started playing with this, there's some stuff we're going to need from Mekanism. So we need fission reactor casings. There's also a logic adapter and a port and a few other things. We're also going to need some really good, probably ultimate tier fluid and energy transport, because that's going to be really important to make sure that we're doing things properly. So let's make sure that all our ultimate gear can be crafted automatically. I think I'm going to add these guys in here to the auto crafter. Cool. So let me get all the components I need crafted, and then we'll be right back. Hopefully I have enough resources. All right, we're back. A little sleeping, ready to go. So let's start with a very simple reactor. So I'm going to probably build this out over here-ish. That seems fair enough. Let's make sure we have enough area with which to build in. And we'll fill this in with sand. I mean, sand is fine. Nothing wrong with sand, except that it falls. Has a little gravity going on, you know. Really, with the... I thought pocket storage would totally be cool about this. He's been a little bit funky lately, and I don't know why. He should have enough sand in him. And look, now all of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, I do have sand, I forgot. I'm wondering if that's like some kind of client sync server issue. I don't know. It doesn't make sense though, because everything should happen server side, and the server should know. So that I don't have a good answer to why that's happening. But when do I ever have a good answer for anything? It's a good point. So we will put all this away. I didn't mean to put my buckets away. I meant to put just that stuff away, but meh, it's not like it's hard to get them back. Buckets, please. Cool. So what we want is probably a nice 3x3 of water to start with. Okay, and that should be good. We'll be ready for that in a minute. Actually, let's start with a nice simple reactor. So the most basic reactor you can make is going to be a 3x3, and when we say 3x3, we mean the external size, right? 3x3x4. So that means 3x3 width, and then here, like this. Okay, this is the smallest reactor you can have, right here, like this. So other reactor mods, when you say 3x3x4, like generally when you're talking about like big reactors or extreme reactors, though that mod, when you say 3x3x4, you're describing the internal size, and that's just like a non-standard thing that Minecraft players do. They're not good at like, you know, standardizing on what they mean when they say 3x3x4. And then the other most important part of this is going to be your control rod assembly and your fission fuel assembly. Your control rod assembly goes at the top, and then you have fission fuel assemblies that go all the way down to the bottom. In this case, there's only one. There would be more than one had this thing have more room. And then you can use reactor glass to kind of fill in here and have some cool stuff. So what I'm going to have is we're probably going to have a fission reactor port here. And we're going to have a fission reactor port here. We might need more of those ports. And I'm going to try a logic port there. Now, I forget exactly how this works. We might need to configurator you. Is there like is there a brains of this operation, or what's the deal? I forget. What am I missing though? I thought you were good at telling me what I'm missing. We've got the port, we've got that, we've got everything built. This looks right. Did I do this wrong? I think so. It might be because we need 4 fission reactor ports, because I think what we need to do is have water in, steam out, and then we also need to have nuclear fuel in, nuclear waste out. So let's do you. Are you going to be groovy now? You've got 4, so you should be getting happier. I forgot a reactor glass here. When you place the last block of the multi-structure, it'll redstone dusty effect, and then boom, we've got a very fancy UI. So here this thing is telling you how much coolant is in the coolant tank, how much fuel is in the fuel tank, how much heated coolant, aka steam, and then waste tank, how much nuclear waste there is. Got it? Good. Good. All right, and then we've got activate to turn it on, scram to turn it off, the current temperature. If this thing gets too hot, it gets bad. Don't let that happen. It only will get too hot if you don't give it enough water. Trust me when I say hot bad. Hot very bad. So let's let me change you back here. I may or may not need this thing, right? Fission logic adapter. Disabled activation. Activate the reactor when powered and deactivate when unpowered. Okay, that seems pretty straightforward. Output when the reactor reaches dangerous temperatures. Output when the reactor has excess waste. Output when the reactor reaches critical damage. Insufficient fuel. So you can basically use these logic adapters to emit a redstone signal under certain conditions and turn on and off the reactor based on redstone signal. So decide how you want to control this thing and you can do some cool stuff. I may not use this right now. Yeah, I might not use this right now, but we'll see. For now, I'm just going to do that. So let's get some water in the back here. So I'm going to do a nice, good old 3x3 of water. Boop, boop, boop. And that looks groovy. I made myself a pump in advance, which is going to be good. And I brought myself a flux point, right? Right? No. What I might do, what I might be smart to do, would be to bring a quick network show up. Network, right? That could be cool. And wireless access point. Might be cool. Wireless transmitter. And maybe some range add-ons ×3. I think I could have one more of you. Wouldn't be a terrible idea. So then what we could do is have a transmitter there. I'm going to have my receiver right here. Can I just pop you right on top? Because that would be cool. And then we click, and then we this. And then if you seem to not be reaching far enough, which you may not, because it's only 48 blocks, so it should reach all the way over to here, right? Yeah, not a problem. So then boom, wireless access out here. Isn't that the best? Isn't that just the best? So that when I forget things, I can just boom, and we have them. Cool. And then you should get my speed and energy upgrades, which I made in advance but didn't quite bring with me. So he should be generating lots of water very quickly, which is very yes. Okay. And then we're going to want some ultimate mechanical pipes, which will be your fluid output. Boom. And we can see this thing holds a lot of water. This is the smallest fission reactor you can make. And look how much water it holds. Cool? You get me? So multiples of these might not be a bad plan. Multiple pumps may not be a bad plan. Now, the good news is the fission reactor will turn water into steam and then turn steam back into water, and it'll become a closed loop. So you don't have to continuously feed it with water, though you want to make sure you never run out of water. So there's going to be some playing around with that we want to be careful with, basically is the gist. Cool. Then we're going to want to feed nuclear fuel into here. And we're going to want to output to a radioactive waste container here. And that'll be what's up. All right, I decided to move this around a little bit because I have some plans in mind for changing some things. But this should get the job done. Let's talk turbine now. So for a turbine, I'm going to build a 5x5x9. All right, so I'm going to build that right behind here. Cool. And that should be your turbine casings. Now, I forget if these are tile entities or not, so we'll see. But for 9, we're going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cool. And can I building gadget you? Maybe. That seems pretty cool. Sweet. He kind of seems to be working. I can't tell if they're tile entities or not. They shouldn't be copyable with building gadgets if they're tile entities, but, you know. Apparently, tile entities do work. They shouldn't work, and I'm concerned that they do. But, you know, building gadgets, I just haven't had time to actually pay good attention to. And that's why I was a little concerned that it was working. So we want structural glass, not reactor glass here. And structure glass is what's going to be the thing. And if this doesn't form for some reason, then I will blame building gadgets and reform it. I'm very nervous about using tile entities because it really shouldn't be happening. Okay. Yeah, if these are tile entities, they should not be placeable. But like I said, building gadgets needs a little love. Needs a little attention. And I feel like I mathed the right number of items here, which is cool. All right, so that's the turbine structure itself. Now I need to get out of here in a minute, so we'll build an exit. But next up, we need to deal with some other stuff. And that is, there's a bunch of other things that go into this. There's turbine vents, there's saturating condensers, there's electromagnetic coils. So electromagnetic coils, pressure dispersers, rotational complex, turbine vents, saturating condensers we called out, right? Do we call it saturating condensers? I have them. I have them, just not in my inventory, but I had them. I was kind of ready. We also need rotors and turbine blades. Cool. And each of these plays a different role in the block. I'm building a standard-ish turbine. There's a lot of math in here, so if you want to get like super deep into it, go check out some wikis. All right, so the roof should have some turbine vents. And if you check out the FTB wiki, there's a good example of how to do this. And then the next row, we should have, let's see, what do we got here? Some of these actually may not necessarily need to be this. I think we got 2 more rows of turbine vents here. So I think what it is for turbine vents, and hopefully I'm right about this, it is 3 by 3 on this side is pretty optimal. And then, why do I feel like I'm short 1 turbine vent? I shouldn't be, because, actually, yeah. That is right. Yes, the one here should be also, whoops, I didn't mean to put that away. Should be either this or glass is fine. Cool. So yeah, that's, I think, your optimal setup. Now inside this structure, there should be saturating condensers times 9 and then times 7. So we're gonna have saturating condensers times 9 and then times 7, and then we're gonna have 2 electromagnetic coils like this. Pretty sure this is right. Underneath that will be 8 pressure dispersers with a rotational complex in the middle. And like I said, if you want to understand the mechanics of each of these blocks and what role they play in the multi-block, wikis are for you. Cool. So there's your rotational complex, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 poles going down. Beautiful. And then I think it's turbine blade. Times 8. So it's 2 blades per rotor. Cool. And then we can fill in the structural glass. And it forms! Hooray! Beautiful. So these are your metrics. Currently idle. This is, you can dump excess power if you want. So if you're not concerned about generating power, you can dump excess, which is fine. Turbine statistics, tank volume, steam flow, dispersers and vents and blades and coils. Real quick, let me just read what all these are. Yeah, I don't have a good explanation for what each of those blocks does. I'm sure it's somewhere out there. There's rules about how you can place them. Just note that I placed it in a pretty good side. It's good. It's good. Trust me. That's what we want. So we're going to... Water goes in here. Steam's going to come out here. And then water's going to come back in. We're probably going to also want over here. I'm going to remove this glass. I'm going to make another turbine, no, another reactor fission port, because we're going to want fuel in, waste out. Okay, and that's what these fission reactor ports are going to be used for. Fuel in, waste out. Okay, so we'll put fuel in the top. We'll pump waste out here. So plenty of water in here. Next episode, we're going to have to come back and start working on nuclear fuel. Okay. We're also going to want, there's turbine somethings for ports, turbine valves. I think this is what we need to pump stuff in and out. So we're going to want 2 of these, right? And I don't know where the power comes from. I don't know if there's a port for turbine power. We want to be careful that we're looking at Mechanism's turbine. Right, Mechanism's turbine, but I assume the valve here may also do, I don't know what, but we'll see. But we could do something like this, and these guys can line up, and then, you know, steam out, steam in, water out, water in. Kind of deal? That sound cool? I think so. We'll figure it out. For now, Del20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll come back next time. We will start working on making nuclear fuel from uranium. Then we can set that up into the fission reactor, turn on the fission reactor, generate steam, generate power, generate nuclear waste, see how to store it. There's a lot to do. We'll figure it all out. And then we're going to build a bigger fission reactor so we can burn it even faster. All right, guys. Del20 signing off. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Take it easy.